Hello, Fearless Gamers! Matt here for Fearless Games, and today I'm doing another entry in the Book Corner, and today's book review is going to be of Battle of the Fang by Chris Wraight. This is the story of the Space Wolves who have just discovered the location of Magnus the Red, and they plan to finish what Russ has started, so they send their whole fleet legion over to this planet where Magnus is hiding to finally bring him to justice. But not everything is as it seems, for the Thousand Sons have their own plans in the work, and they plan to make the Sons of Russ pay for what happened on Prospero. This book is awesome. It has a phenomenal story, great action, and actually some pretty good characters, especially on the Space Wolf side. That's saying a lot if I'm saying this. This book story was just... I can't say enough about it. That's great. It's... The build-up for everything is really awesome, the actual combat is really phenomenal, and the ending is just glorious. Being a Thousand Sons player, I was just sitting there going, yes, yes, finally, awesome! And despite the fact that I knew how the thing was going to end because I read up on the fluff and all that stuff, book was still great and still had me on the edge of my seat. If I had any one problem with this story, it was the Thousand Sons themselves. I felt, personally, this could just be because I am a huge Thousand Sons fan, that I just wanted to see more of it. I felt that they didn't really go into how their whole invulnerable save thing comes into play in their fluff, and they seem to just drop pretty easily, though... It could just me just wishing more Thousand Sons mode over more Space Wolves throughout the book, because the Space Wolves are the main characters in this story. But still, the tactics that are used, it showed a lot of that whole how legions fought wars, and just how things like this could happen. And it also throws in a really cool, just dessert on the Space Wolf side, because they deserve everything that happens to them in this story because of what they did to the Thousand Sons way back during the Horus Heresy. Like I said, the characters are really great. You kind of get a touch of 3 different characters going throughout, or actually, I guess you'd say 4 characters, roughly, throughout the whole thing. Most of them Space Wolves. Actually, there's about, 4 Space... 1, 2, 3... Roughly, 3 main Space Wolf characters. 1 Imperial Guardish main character that they follow. And roughly 2 to 3 Thousand Son characters that the story basically follows. And what's great is it never feels oversaturated. It never feels clumped or rushed. It actually was very well paced, in my opinion. The story I'd have to say it plays fairly to both sides. You never go, clearly this dude's a Space Wolf fan, or clearly this is a Thousand Sons fan. It was very well equalized. Like I said, the only thing I really didn't like was that it felt like the Thousand Sons would drop easily. And I would have thought it would be like, it would have been cool if they just had a couple of scenes where it just showed how hard it was to drop them. But in this, they didn't feel like they were these unstoppable automatons that the fluff kind of makes them out to be. But I did like the interactions that the sorcerers had with the Rubric Marines, and you get a cool idea of how they're thinking about everything that's happened to them and what may happen to them. And you also get a really cool idea of the Space Wolves and their opinion of themselves in a way, and their look on what happened in this story. Great until the end. Even the final climactic battle, I was just like, oh man, I couldn't get enough of this. And it was just phenomenal with it. There was, and I don't want to say much without giving any spoilers away from it, but they do have Magnus in the book, and he is done very well. You get a real, I guess you could say, if you read A Thousand Sons and then read Battle of the Fang, you wouldn't believe that they were written by 2 different people, because Magnus is captured almost perfectly. Like, the Magnus in this book, you can believe was the Magnus before the fall. So, it's done very well. The characters are... And they even captured the whole frustration that I get with Space Wolves characters in this book. Because they're just somewhere I'm just like, no! Bad! And he captures that well, so that says something that I hated these characters. Hated them in the fact that they were Space Wolves and their character type and what they believed in. And that's what makes them good, is they wrote them the way the Space Wolves should be written, and that's in a form that ticks me off. That shows that they are perfectly represented in this book. And again, said on the other end, the Thousand Sons, I loved how they were portrayed. I loved some of the the dialogues and the reminiscing about stuff that's happened and stuff that's gonna happen. You really feel for the Legion more than you have before. And it's just a great setup, and it actually gave me a couple of ideas for just what I'd probably want to do with my own Thousand Sons army once Forge World gets around to making Thousand Son Terminators, which, please, give us those soon. I need them, because the current GW ones are garbage. Sorry. But, I'm sorry, they stopped making the Cult Terminators after I picked up the Thousand Son. Before I picked up Thousand Sons, so I really wanted them, and I don't like the new Termies. But that's neither here nor there. So, if you're a Space Wolves fan, or a Thousand Sons fan, this is a book that does things well. The biggest thing is unlike Thousand Son and Prospero Burns, the story plays equally to both Legion and Chapter. So, you get enough filling of Thousand Sons where you don't... So if you're a Space Wolves player, there's enough Space Wolves action going on there to counteract the Thousand Sons stuff, so you're not just sitting there going, oh, this is just a Thousand Sons story. And vice versa. The Thousand Sons fans will get enough Thousand Sons action where they won't be sitting there going, oh, this is too much Space Wolf stuff. It gives you a great perspective of how the Legions, I keep saying Legions because one's a Legion and one's a Chapter. You get a great feel for how the two forces feel against each other, and you just get an awesome story of what happens when Space Marine fights Space Marine. And it is a great edge-of-your-seat read. If you haven't already, check this book out. And that is all for right now. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have any suggestions for books that you think I might like, or if you want to give your own opinion on this book, leave a comment, and that way we all can share on this. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, that way our channel can get out there more and help us, reach out into the community. And if you haven't checked us out yet, check us out on our Facebook, get some interesting news bits when we remember to post them, get some cool little fun tidbits, stuff like that. And that is all for right now. If you're interested, you can still get Battle of the Fang on blacklibrary.com, and I think you can still pick it up at Barnes & Noble. At least it was there last time I checked. So, again, thank you all for watching, and until next time, fearless gamers, take care.